Hello everybody, I hope you're okay today. I had a request from one of my subscribers to do comments on one of the videos for the 3D Birdie project. So that's what we're going to do today. I just want to take the opportunity to tell you why I haven't been that active and I haven't done so many videos with the real time and commenting on them. Firstly, I've had to take a second job because freelancing as a 3D artist is not paid as much as you can guess. So I had to take a second job because we were buying a house. We've got our new house finally. So yeah, I had to help with the mortgage and stuff. So you can imagine how busy my day is. I've got two young girls, actually one teenager and one young girl to look after as well. And yeah, 3 months ago my dad passed away as well. So that was a little bit of a time where I don't think I actually had enough time to grieve. But saying that, I did a project which is part of him. He used to be a mechanical engineer, so the jet engine project that I'm releasing hopefully soon when it's rendered. It's part of his legacy. So I think that was my way of grieving. And yeah, it's been really tough 3 or 4 months. But I think I'm getting there. And yeah, let's try and see what we're doing. I haven't seen this video, since I've posted it actually. So hopefully there's no surprises there. I'm going to use the big TV as my second screen. I'll be streaming it from my iPad. So I can just relax on the sofa. Come on. I can just relax on the sofa and watch with you guys and try to do some comments for it. So let me know if you have any questions. Here, I will mute that video so you can actually hear me. Okay. So shall we scroll through that? Okay, let me walk you through those shots. Actually, these are the shots that I rendered before I rendered the animation. So this is rendered in Maya 2024. The actual animation, which was ready in the later videos, the animation is rendered in Maya 2025. And maybe I'll have time to do a comparison video rendering in Maya 2024 and Maya 2025. But there is a huge difference. At the time, I know I did this whole project in Maya 2024. And then I downloaded Maya 2025, so I started playing with it. This is not bad, but the things that I figured out that you can do with Maya 2025, I think it's much better. I don't know what they did, I haven't read about it, but there is definitely a difference in rendering in our node between 2024 and 2025 Autodesk Maya. So maybe I'll have time later on to do a video about this. But at the moment, it's like a lot of projects that I'm working on, and there is a Mowgli project which I finished rendering it, and I actually did that picture. It's a new picture, not from the one which I did in Nomad. For those of you who have seen the Nomad one, let me pause this just for a moment to finish my thought. So that's what we're discussing today. But let me just finish my thought. Mowgli project, I did one video about rendering it in Nomad Sculpt, because I did create it in Nomad Sculpt. But there was something off about the eyes of Mowgli and whatnot. So originally I created this shot so I can canvas print it, because there is a story behind it. My dad, when I was very young, my dad was very good at drawing. Right? So I remember, my younger sisters don't remember this, but I remember my dad drew Mowgli poster, and he stick it to the wall. It was something like mural, and it was behind the door. And I remember how I was admiring this drawing of his, and that's why I created the Mowgli scene, so I can print either a big canvas. Now I'm kind of conflicted. The picture is ready, it's rendered, and it's rendered for a canvas 20-inch by 30-inch. I think I've recorded a few videos about it. I'm not too sure, I need to check. But once I print it, I will do a whole video about how I textured it and how I rendered it in Autodesk Maya with Arnold 2025, because that's how I found out that there is actually a difference. So that said, I will try later on to do a video about it. So look out for those new videos coming through. I've started working on a new project as well. I'm gathering reference pictures. It's a big project. It's fan art of one of Disney's movies, and just like there is a really nice scene I want to do. I'm not going to say anything yet because I'm still gathering information to see whether I'll be able to do it. I just don't want to start a project where I would really be struggling and I would not be able to do anything. So we'll see whether I'm doing this project. At the moment, I'm just gathering reference pictures, videos, kind of building up the scene and figuring out how to do because there is a lot of water. Maybe you'll guess which Disney movie it is. We'll see. There is a lot of water in the scenes, and So shall we get to this? Apparently we're doing the part 33 single feather with xgen interactive groom in Autodesk Maya. Okay, let's get to it. Oh, come on. Seriously? Unlock. Okay, let's do this. I'm comfortably sitting on the sofa, going through the video with you. Nice setup. I think it's a nice setup. Okay, let's see what I was doing there. Okay, I'm going for the cylinder, aren't I? Okay, here I've got another video which I created the stem of the feather. It's a speed video, which I've created the stem of the feather with a curve, and then I think I extruded the geometry through the curve. I can't really remember, but it's similar way. So here we're doing it just with a cylinder for the stem of the feather. Okay. And I remember that in Maya 2024, there was difference with the move and the scale tool. There was something different from the previous versions of Maya. You see here, I am trying to figure out the tools, the move and the scale tool. Yeah, it was snapping. When I was using the move tool, it was kind of snapping. And I don't have my snap to surface tools on. So here, basically what I'm doing is trying to figure out the new tools. Okay, I went with F on the keyboard so I can zoom into the 3D model, object, geometry. So I'm selecting all the faces. As you can see on the right hand side, there is the face selection. For those of you who are just starting with Maya, so I'm selecting the faces and I'm trying to move just that part of the cylinder. Now I'm extruding it because I've selected just the faces on the front, and Control and E to extrude it. So I keep doing it in sections, so I've got a little bit more geometry. And then I think I'm going to add a few more loops as well. with the multicut tool. Let's have a look whether that's what I'm doing. Yeah, keep extruding, keep pressing Control and E so you can keep extruding it and then keep moving it. And then we're going to go into detail to kind of scale down some of the loops. Yeah, keep extruding. There we are. Keep extruding. Yeah, there at the end I do a little bit more, a few more loops so I can kind of make it a little bit looking more like a stem of a feather, because it's not like a straight cylinder, is it? So I did a few more loops there so I can give myself a little bit more of a wiggle room to scale it. Yeah, I remember I was very annoyed by the tool. I was nearly giving up on Maya 2024, but then afterwards, just select the faces there. You see how I'm starting to kind of getting the loops. Now I'm gonna select the edges. And it was very tricky. It was very, very tricky there selecting the edges. I remember my tools were not working like they used to work in 2023, 2022. It was just like so annoying in the beginning, so annoying. And I could not figure out why is it not selecting when I select one edge or one face and then hold shift and then select the whole loop. It was not working. It was not working. That's why it takes that long to do this. Yeah. But later on, like I was going to say, later on, it was very useful the way that it was snapping and the way that it was not the selection thing. Maybe I should just like kind of go into detail and see why it wasn't. I haven't modeled for a long time since I was modeling this. So I haven't had time to actually look into the tools, what was changed and how I can amend this. But at some point I was getting so annoyed. I was trying to select a loop and it just would not select everything. You know, it didn't work. It didn't used to work. It didn't work like it used to work. Sorry. Yeah, I haven't done a video in a while, so my apologies. Okay, so now I'm looking at it. Zoom in and see whether we can just make it a little bit. You see, here, I just want to select all of it. So that should work because I'm switching off the selection. So it selected everything, not just the visible in the camera, but I've selected all of the faces and yes, all of the faces. I've got the faces selected there. So I'm using B on the keyboard to use the smooth selection. What's it? How is it called? Is it called smooth selection? When you have the redness and the yellow bits, it means that I'm kind of I've forgotten how this tool is called. Oh my goodness, I haven't modeled in a while, have I? Yeah, because it's been so many things recently, and yeah, since I'm rendering the jet engine animation, I haven't had a chance to start on a new project. I'm just processing at the moment what I have left from the Birdie project as well. Soft select. I got it. Soft selection. B on the keyboard, yeah? Soft select. I remembered. You see, now I'm selecting and I'm holding shift and I want to select the whole loop. But it wasn't selecting it. And it was driving me mad. Sometimes it was selecting it, sometimes it wasn't. You know? And now I'm checking, have I selected all the loops that I want? Because that's where we're going to generate now the xgen, just on the sides for the feather. And yes, I'm using interactive groom. I haven't used interactive groom in a while for the reason that in the previous versions, from 2020, Maya 2020, up until Maya 2024, I could not use the sculpt tools for the xgen interactive groom, and that was something to do with my drivers for my MacBook. And I tried a few things, it just did not work. So I have not used xgen interactive groom in a while until 2024 was released, and that bug was fixed. I could finally use xgen interactive groom again. That's why I used xgen interactive groom here. I was so happy. I was so happy. So we adding the scale. Just one thing to remember about xgen interactive groom with my experience is that if you start sculpting on this, where is the sculpt, what is it called, attribute, and then use the primarily scale, it's not going to work as well. So first to do the scale, you can see that it didn't generate enough fur for it, or whatever we call hair for the feathers. So I was saying about the scale. First do your scale how you want, then do the sculpt layer, and then if you need to scale it up or down, add another scale layer. So now I'm going to add, where I don't have hair, I'm going to use the tool on top to add it on the sculpt layer as well. So I know that adding this hair is on my sculpt layer. And you need to make sure that red button there, edit, is on, because if you have too many sculpt layers, you might not be sculpting on the layer that you want to be sculpting. So I'm adding this, but as you can see, it's adding it differently than what I have. And it's adding it in the 3D space. So it would take me a moment afterwards to tidy it up. And I think that's to do with why I did not add it in the beginning. Well, it could be because I don't have enough geometry on it. Or it could be because I didn't do the UVs properly. It could be any number of these reasons. But I was just playing with it to see what I can get away with. And I was finally happy to be able to use xgen interactive groom again. So I was just like kind of having a play here. Didn't want to figure out why did not generate me hair on these surfaces, but it's either the UVs or I didn't have enough geometry. So now I'm going on my previous sculpt layer. You can see that I have the red edit button on my first sculpt layer. So now I'm just going to brush it, try to arrange all of the hair together so I can, create the base of the feather. I love xgen interactive groom. It's so interactive. It's very interactive. I gotta give them that. It's very interactive. It's nice. It's very nice. Yeah, I switched off the floor because it was distracting me. And you need to keep going now all around to see whether it's going in the same direction. This is so comforting. That's why I love being a 3D artist. Sometimes, when tools are working properly, when you know what you're doing and you're not experimenting, now it's interacting with the geometry. It's too close now. So you need to be careful with how close you go to the geometry as well. Especially if you have the collide with mesh. If you have a look at the two settings on the right hand side, where I don't have collide with mesh ticked on. And I don't have it usually now because I think my computer freezes when I have collide with mesh on my two settings. My computer freezes every time. I don't know why. Probably it's a bug. But I'm just happy that it works, because before I could not use xgen interactive groom unless I go in Maya 2020, do everything there, and then kind of import it into my projects in the later versions of Maya 2020. That's starting to look like a feather. It is, isn't it? Oh, it's so nice. I like working with fur and hair and stuff. So nice. Especially when I do fur for cartoon characters, like animals, birdies, and stuff like that. So yeah, see, I'm adding now the scale. Oh, I deleted it. Why did I delete it? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna add it again. Oh, okay. So you can see it's scale 18. So I added my scale, another scale on top of my sculpts, because if I go to my previous one, it's gonna go totally distorted. So now I'm just checking, okay, I've done my sculpt layers. I've got my add hair sculpt layer, and I've got my normal sculpt layer. Sorry, not hair. Oh, what am I adding here? Okay, sometimes I do like separating my brushing sculpt layers because I like going little by little and see the difference in the sculpt layers with what I've added, so I don't completely destroy the first one. As long as I'm happy with my first sculpt layer, I'll add a little bit of scale so I can see, how I can play with it. And then I'll add another sculpt layer so I can add to it. It's basically a little bit by little bit I'm adding to it, layer by layer. So I don't get really confused and, I don't mess up a very long process of sculpting. You know how it goes. Sculpting is sculpting. Whether you're sculpting hair or geometry, it's the longer you do it, the less possibility you have of going back. The more layers you have, the more heavier maybe it will get, but more control we have over things. That's how I like working. See? Nice. Starting to look very nice. Very, very nice. Oh. There is a lot of ways of doing feathers. I've got other videos as well for peacock feather and texturing them as well. Okay, the density multiplier, that just adds a little bit more. Okay, we're adding another sculpt layer. Lovely. Like I said, I like my layers. Add hair. Okay, so I need to add a little bit more hair now, so I'm adding more hair. Is that gonna work out, or then I would need to add another sculpt layer to brush this added hair, right? Nice. And now we're gonna have to do more brushing. And always make sure that you're on the layer that you want to be. The red button on the edit should be on. So that's how you know you're on the layer that you want to be. But sometimes, it happened to me sometimes, and it's just I haven't selected my specific sculpt layer, and then I'm trying to brush, and it won't happen, and it just won't happen. It won't work, and I'm like, seriously? Nice. Yeah, but the direction now, if you have a look at the bottom. See, I put the floor back on because it gives me an idea to see what goes underneath. And you can amend the brush with the B, like in the sculpt as well. Hold the B and then you scale up and down. Or you can open the tool settings from the left and just amend the brush. And you see, size 2 settings on the right. And you can amend the size, the strength, like I said, collide with mesh, symmetry as well. We've got at the bottom symmetry settings. But here I don't use symmetry because I don't want it to be symmetrical. Feathers are not, as perfect as symmetrical. So I have the symmetry settings off. But it's very useful sometimes for this to use symmetry as well. Look what happened. So now I need to bring these all the way up. But I don't want to have it like all in one layer. I want it more, like this. You still see the top needs to go tiny bit down as well. Let's cut that down. It's basically here I'm playing with xgen because I hadn't done it for so long. I was just happy it's working again. I was really happy. Really, really happy. I was so disappointed for that I couldn't use it for so long. Well, I did use it. I used it for Maximus. Yes, I did use it for Maximus, but for Maximus I had to go from 2020, do the fur with xgen in 2020, then export it and then import it into my, which was it, 2022, Maya 2022, I think Maximus I did with Maya 2022. Because again, why did I not, maybe you're asking, why did I not, I'm still brushing so I can just keep talking, right? Why did I not do the whole Maximus project in 2022? That's another thing, the render settings. Maya 2020 wasn't rendering as nice as Maya 2022. Maya 2022 was rendering much nicer. So that's why I had to go in and out of Maya 2020 and Maya 2022 for the sole purpose that I wanted the renders to look much nicer than when I was rendering with Arnold in Maya 2020. But at the same time, I wanted to use xgen interactive groom because at the time I did not actually know how to use xgen, the usual, the first xgen. And I was like, oh my goodness, now the amount of time that I need to spend to learn, xgen. And so I decided to do the hair for Maximus. I did with N hair. Yes. But saying that, using N hair helped me learn about the dynamics, because N hair dynamics is using the same dynamics that we actually attach to xgen as well. So yeah, everything that I've learned, every tool that I've learned to use has helped me learn another tool in Maya. And when I came to Rapunzel's project I did with actually xgen, because it was very tricky, and hair is very old. And I decided that it was time to actually go through xgen. And yes, that's when I used xgen. And now finally I can use both. Where are we? Minimal remaining length. Okay, now I'm gonna cut, yeah? I added the cut layer, sculpt layer. Now we're gonna cut, give it a nice haircut on the edges. There we are. Just the minimal remaining, I'm trying to have the minimal remaining as, as short as possible. I don't want to cut it that much. I just want to go little by little and just like kind of trim it, layer it a little bit, as you say. So the feather is having a haircut. A haircut? A feather cut? It's not really hair, is it? Well, it is kind of hair. I don't know. There we are. Let's go all the way around. Yeah, when I done them, so you see, you can't get it all in the 3D, so you need to go around, keep rotating, and see what you can get. There we are. Trimmed it a little bit. Now it's starting to look more like a feather. I did not do like a proper feather, how it's going to look, because it depends. You need to have a reference for the feather that you're doing. For example, for the peacock feather, I had different reference. So the peacock feather I created exactly the same way, with cylinder in between for the stem. Before the peacock feather, I had another tutorial. Well, it wasn't more. It was more like a speed video, and I used a different way of creating the stem, but it's exactly the same way I used the xgen. Did I use xgen interactive groom there or xgen? I'm not quite sure. But exactly the same way, you know, you sculpt it, you brush it, but it depends on what feather you're doing. So mine is more cartoony character, and I was going more for like a short, you know, like cartoony style. But you need to have a reference for your feather for the bird that you're doing. But using the same method is absolutely fine. As long as you know the tools, you can, you know, create whatever you need. So basically here, my feather is like totally working like a feather, but it's not like, what did I do there? Seriously? You see what happens? I think I'll give up here and I'll create a new layer, because now I've got this add hair 2 layer, and now it's like kind of messing up all the other sculpt layers. So I'm trying to fix it. It went all frizzy. Yeah, I'm trying to straighten it, but with the smooth brush, but it's not gonna do that much, is it? And it's on 100% strength, so yeah, I messed it up here, didn't I? That's okay, because at the end it was fixed, right? So I'm masking it here now. Am I masking it? Yes, I'm masking it. So I'm masking all of the rest, and I'm trying to brush just those which are not masked. Because otherwise, you know, I don't want to go with full strength. If you can see, the strength of the brush is like on 49 or something. I can't really see from here. Even though it's on a big screen. So you see, I freeze the rest so I don't touch them, and I can just straighten that bit which got a bit messed up. Now I'll freeze the dough. What am I going to do next? Sometimes it's very interesting, you know, watching the videos and doing those tutorials, because it actually, you know, shows me sometimes the mistakes I make, or sometimes, basically, one of the selfish reasons why I'm doing those videos is to record my work, because sometimes I'm thinking, I've done this, but how? How did I do this? So it's very easy for me going back to my videos and actually, oh, okay. Especially when it's more complicated. This is fine. I mean, this is more of a playing game than, you know. Whoa, what did I do there? I didn't know want that. Yeah, I didn't know want it that long, did I? Okay. You see, all the different tools that I'm using, it shows you. That's why I had that video so long. How much? Oh, we don't have that much longer left. It shows all the tools and how you can build up in the layers. But so many times I've just gotten lost into the layers. That's why it's good to have a lot of layers, but not that many at the same time, so you don't get really confused. But this way, on the left hand side where you have the white dots, you can switch on and off the layers, and you can see what each layer does. Nice. Not too bad. It's not perfect. I think I played a little bit more after, just kind of amended it a little bit more. This is just the start process. Sorry, my asthma is playing up my allergic reactions again. Come on. I don't know why it's doing that. And it was doing it just to the hair that I added later on. But it gives it more of a natural look. I mean, a feather is a feather. It could be messy, it could be anything, right? Doesn't look bad at all. Next time, if I need to do another feather and another bird, probably I'll either use this one or I'll just do a better one. It depends on the bird, really. Yeah, I'm tapering it now to make it either fluffier, thinner, or to see what looks better. That's what I said. For cartoon birds, I had it a little bit thicker. But if the bird is more like a realistic looking one, you would want to taper it and you would want to make it thinner, look more fluffier. Okay, what we do now? We're selecting faces. Okay. Yes, I'm gonna just extrude the stem a little bit, and you see how the hair goes with it. Yeah, I think it was to do. It did not out in the beginning enough hair because I did not have enough geometry. Because as you can see now, I'm not extruding. I'm just pulling it. Did I extrude? Shall I go back and see whether I extruded? But as you can see, that is so much stretched. Look how stretched it is. I've got only one loop there. So I would assume it's either to do when you have problems with xgen, it's usually not good UVs or not enough geometry. That's the two main factors to look at if something's not working right, and the scale. Because sometimes you would try to generate xgen, regardless of whether it's original xgen or xgen interactive groom. Sometimes you will try to generate it, and I've had cases where it would not generate anything. And I was like, what? Everything is okay. UVs are fine. I've set up my project. My geometry is fine. I've got enough geometry there. What's happening? Why does it not generate? You need to look at the scale. So if it is not the correct scale, let's say in how I check whether I've gotten whether my scale is good is, let's say I'm generating on the feather and I don't get any fur generating. I would generate one of the ready models for the human and see how small is my geometry in consideration with the human model in Maya. And if it is too small, that's why it doesn't generate it. So what I usually do is like I scale my object, and that's when it actually generates me the hair. You know, that's few things that I've learned with my last few projects. Okay. Now we're gonna add a little bit more hair. I do apologize if I'm distracting you from the video with with the additional information I give you. But if you decide that you just want to watch the video without my comments, the original video part 33 is just with no comments. This one will be additional. I'll put it as part 33 with comments. Yeah, very nice. Does look a little bit cartoony, doesn't it? Soon we're coming to the primarily render settings, and that will be it. Let me know if you have any questions. You can see how long it was actually taking to save this. I don't know thought I was working here on the MacBook or on the Mac Studio. Because the Mac Studio is much stronger, it wasn't taking as much. So that's the original shading that I think usually gives it. So if you go to, am I going to go to the attribute editor and show you for the shading? Yes, I will. It's there on the right hand side. There we are. Okay, then hair physical shader. That's always the original one. So we can change the settings there. The root, the top. I quite like this. This end hair is quite nice. It works better for cartoony styles. But if you want the original one, you can just select the group of the xgen and attach the hair physical shader one, which is not too bad either. But here you would need to lock the render attributes for which don't render in Arnold, because this is originally for Maya. That's the native Maya hair physical shader. It works really well. I've used for my last few projects, I've used those that shader rather than using the hair physical one, which is specifically designed for Arnold. Density multiplier, let's see how it renders. Not too bad. That was too dark. Afterwards, I did change the shading. And to be honest, I don't think I used this original one. I think I used... Yes, because I generated, in the later videos, you would see that I actually generated texture from this. And then I applied it to geometry feather, because it was easier to manipulate when I was rigging it. So that's the primarily. And then afterwards I went, I think, lighter. But just here to show you how you can play with the physical shader. So I'm just going to change the shading for the stem of the feather as well. And we're nearly done with this one. It wasn't that long, was it? It's a good video. I like watching those videos. I'm assigning a new shading material, changing it a little bit. For a lot of my projects, the roughness, I put down the roughness. Well, go this way. I don't know whether it's putting it down or increasing it. No, I'm not increasing it, because otherwise it's too shiny. Okay. What are we doing now? Okay, I'm tapering it a little bit more, making it thinner, making the hair a little bit thinner to see how this would look, because I think before it looked too thick, and I want to see how it's going to be if it looks more like furry, feathery, like. And that's it. Okay, that's it for today. Or maybe what I can do is I can show you the Mowgli one. So let's actually find the Mowgli one and show you the... And then we can... Okay. Let me just turn it around. Okay, there we are. That's the last render for Mowgli.